Okay, we are live. Yay!
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 All right, everybody, welcome to the September Stitch and Bitch, where we sometimes do crafts and always talk about our latest fun media, books, games, movies, etc. I think it's going to be a pretty chill day. Maybe we'll ramp up the energy as we go, but so yeah, let's do some quick intros. Not that anybody doesn't know who we are at this point, but tradition. Why are you dancing?
I don't know. We might have gotten new people who are curious about what is the Stitch and Bitch that's on the long list.
That's
We
true.
haven't talked about that yet. I did some reacting to the long list on TikTok, but we haven't reacted to the long
I feel
list.
like
on
we
Stitch
should
and Bitch.
react to the long list at some point today.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have reactions, but if y'all have opinions, we'll do that.
I have reactions to the novel long list.
Okay.
This is,
Introductions.
of course, the Hugo Awards long list. For anyone.
So I'll go first really quickly. My name is Rachel. This is my channel, Kalanati. I read mostly science fiction, fantasy, nonfiction, bit of manga right now. And while I no longer make videos, I do show up for the monthly live show. So, Rhea.
So, I'm blanking on my name. My name is Rhea. My channel is The Bookfinch, where I also host the Stitch and Bitch shows for 3 times a year. And the thing that I was eating was Karelian pie, straight from my the Savo-Karelian homeland of Imatra in eastern Finland, with hummus that has been made in Finland. So with chickpeas that were not sourced from any apartheid state. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm also drinking tea. I have had a little bit of a cold this past week, so I am still sporting the whiskey base a little bit.
We have a cat appearance. It's Leia.
We do. She's about to bolt, so this is Leia. Little Miss Chonk herself.
Airplane ears. She's like, let me go.
Yep. She's like, I need to go bug my brother.
Di, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Diana. My channel is Bookish Di. I have not really posted a whole lot this year other than a rant about Illumicrate being a piece of shit. And I am currently working on this shawl. I had to frog a bunch because I realized I had done something weird. And I don't know what exactly it was, but it was weird. So
Just weird.
Yeah, I cannot explain what it was, but I was looking at it as I was getting ready to start the next section. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened?
Kelsey.
I'm Kelsey. My channel is The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I do occasionally post my own videos there. I posted a little over a week ago a double book review for God Killer and These Burning Stars, which were both by Astounding Award nominees this year, which is why I read both of them over the summer. And that video is absolutely tanking in the algorithm. No one is watching it. So like, it's my worst performing video in a long time. So if that sounds good to you and you want to hear actually well-articulated thoughts on those books, as opposed to whatever happens when I'm tired on a Sunday on a live stream, you should go watch that. Tell the YouTube algorithm that you want to see reviews, because I think the YouTube algorithm just doesn't show book reviews to people.
Also, comment so you boost the algorithm.
Engagement.
Share, comment, like.
Anyways, my plan is that my next video is going to be a great big book haul, because that always gets the views. People want to see a great big book haul.
Yes.
I would want to see a great big book haul. I need to outsource the dopamine so that I don't have to buy books myself.
And I have like everything that I bought at Worldcon. Like I haven't done a book haul since January, so I have a lot that I can show.
Like 40 minutes of just books.
I am not crafting today. I had a medically difficult night last night, and I do not have the attention to multitask at all today. And if I have to just like run away and disappear during the stream, that is why. I don't expect to. I'm feeling much better, but
Kelsey, you are in good company because I'm also not crafting today because I finished the only thing that I was inspired to do, and I finished the project.
What did you finish?
I made a Hollow Knight plushie, like an amigurumi. From the game Hollow
the
Knight.
video game with the little bunny character?
Yeah, well, they're bugs.
They're bugs. Okay.
They look
have-
like
yes.
bugs to me.
I have seen images of this completely out of context. I know nothing.
The context is that they're bugs.
Okay.
But I did make I finished the like the plushie. I do have one thing to say about that. I appreciate and adore all the people who create free patterns. So I cannot criticize because it was a free pattern, but at the same time, my brain and the brain logic of the person who wrote that pattern were not in sync because I had to redo so many of the smaller parts and reread the pattern because I was just like, I am not understanding what this person is wanting me to do.
That's why pattern testing is so important, so that like you know.
I was the pattern tester. I was the pattern tester.
You shouldn't have to buy it and then test it.
Well, this was a free pattern, so I did not buy it. Some graceful soul had posted it on Instagram. I had to sign into Instagram on my desktop computer so that I could have the post like visible on because I didn't want to look at it from my phone.
Uh-huh.
Who signs into Instagram on their like home computer? Me, apparently.
I do, but that's because I'm old and I want to be able to use my desktop browser for all of my social media, and I am resentful of the rise of having to download an app for every separate thing. These are all web pages. I should be able to view them on my web browser.
I will say, me too.
It's so annoying with TikTok links in particular. And it's like, no, if I don't have the app, there's a reason for that. I just want to watch this stupid like TikTok that someone sent me without like having to switch to my computer.
Yeah. I every time someone sends me a TikTok link, I'm like, sorry, I'm not even going to try to open it because it will try to make me download the app. I'm not downloading TikTok. I am not the age group for TikTok, I don't think. Well, I might be, but I'm too. Let's put it this way: it's not an age thing. I'm too much of a curmudgeon to enjoy TikTok. I enjoy the reposts to Instagram, like other normal people my age.
I downloaded TikTok specifically because I wanted the Sleep Token video links that kept going to TikTok. I no longer have TikTok on my phone now, though, because that app is insane.
It's insane and it's addicting. If you think Instagram like facilitates doom scrolling for hours on end, I'm not like I'm part of the doom scroll problem. TikTok is worse because it will just like with Instagram when you scroll, you will sometimes get like targeted content that is absolutely garbage that you do not want to watch and you didn't ask for, and it like clearly you are not the target audience.
Mm-hmm.
With TikTok, I feel like you are actually fed like content that you want to see.
Yeah.
At
some point TikTok links did work in mobile browser. They haven't worked for me for quite a while. That's Yeah.
TikTok actually, they external links, like they automatically open in the app, even if you try to do the copy and paste, like if especially on mobile device, if you try to do the copy and paste, it will not open the link, and it will try to redirect you to the App Store.
That's
Play
just on
Store if you're
mobile,
on
right? You
Android.
can still open links on browser. Like I am the person who clicks on TikTok links in my desktop browser.
That's the thing, you're on desktop,
Yeah.
but if you're on mobile,
I mean, I use the TikTok app for posting videos and for doom scrolling, but for links, nah, I will. Anyways, I also finished a craft project. I was starting that embroidered heron pattern
That
when
was so
I
nice.
was in Seattle when we had our last live stream. I only had like 2 days to finish it before I left town because I didn't want to bring it back to New York. So I did finish it, and I can't show it to you because I did not bring it back to New York. I gave it to my dad. But I was really happy about how it turned out. And on our live show last month, Bree suggested doing whipped back stitch for some of it, and I did. And I was really happy with it.
I can show you the. This is the
Oh,
This is the Hollow Knight plushie that I made and just finished the other
Aw.
day. It's a little wonky. It can't stand on its own without being supported, but at least it looks the part. It tries its best.
I think it looks good.
It was well received.
Yes. Oh, you know, I didn't talk about what I'm doing. I also finished a craft last night. I made a backpack. That took a couple of weeks. It was fun, actually. Never made a bag before in my life. I decided just to make a backpack. But today I'm doing very simple hand sewing. I am hemming this skirt that I bought, which ended up being like 2 inches too long. So that's my brainless task for today.
Nice.
Hemming is so nice because you can just like put your brain on autopilot and just do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Shall we talk about books?
Do we want to talk about books or do we want to talk about long list stuff first?
I'm good with whatever. I need to pull up the long list.
I think the long list might take less time than the books.
yes.
Yes. The big news from the Hugo Awards long list is that Stitch and Bitch was like 1 vote short of making the short list.
Not
in
one.
We were like
vote, it
2
was-
nominations.
2
Well,
nominations.
they didn't say how many nominations. They only said points.
Mm.
And
But the point was like was
there are
it 0.86 or
It was an
1.86?
extremely small margin, okay?
we were
Small.
pretty close this year, and we were shocked and surprised and thrilled because we were the last entry on the long list last year, and that was our first time on the long list. And we were not expecting to have made that much of a jump. And thank you to everyone who nominated.
Yes, we really
Yes,
appreciate
thank you.
it.
Thank you everyone who thought we deserved a nomination. This meant a lot. It like literally I was not in Seattle, and when I saw that we were on the long list, I was like, feels nice that you basically have enjoyed our like years of yapping so much.
I feel like we probably confused quite a few people looking at the stats who are like, what? What is that? How is Stitch and Bitch relevant? But
And hopefully they will look it up and find us, maybe.
Yeah.
But what other interesting? I'm trying to find the
So
long
for
list as well, but
Yeah,
I
so
where
have
is Seattle?
best novel, for me, it was interesting that had Tchaikovsky not taken up 2 spots, then Mercy, the new James S.A. Corey would have gotten on the list.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
heard
that
Interesting.
was the final book that was on the cutoff.
I'm
And-
not surprised. It wasn't like one of my predictions for what was gonna make the short list, but like I don't think that's surprising.
No.
Not really, no. I mean,
I will say
back
pretty
to
much
the-
everything I nominated made the long list. So that is validating that other people thought that the same books should have been nominated, but it's also just
Only
frustrating
thing
that nothing I read got on the short list, or nothing I nominated got on the short list.
there's the only thing that I nominated that made the long list at all was City in Glass, and I'm glad it's there, but wow, that's really low down.
Yeah.
Especially considering that Hugo voters do generally like Niveau. Like,
Yep.
no one read this book.
I'm
I find it very upsetting.
also seeing that Metal from Heaven also was close to getting by August Clark was also close to getting to the short list.
Yep.
So the Mercy of Gods and Metal from Heaven, like Metal from Heaven, I'm kind of bummed that it did not make it.
Brando Sando almost didn't make it onto the best series shortlist.
That surprised me.
The only reason he got on is because Singing Hills didn't have the word count to qualify.
Oh.
But the thing is, like, Brando Sando is very popular in general, but probably not that popular among Hugo voters. So
Yeah, I
like
think-
because he does not show up too much in like any category.
No.
In best series, I was a little bit surprised that the series that came closest to making the ballot was the CJ Cherry Alliance Union series. I had no idea she was still writing in that world.
That one really surprised me, especially because it made on there for the second and I think a duology that people have been waiting on since like 2018. I read the first one. I haven't read the second one. But I was like, whoa. On the other hand, Alliance Union was a staple of Hugo Awards like 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
Yeah.
Bujal coming back with another Vorkosigan novel. Like
Oh,
people
yeah,
will
yeah, yeah,
jump
yeah,
on that and be like, you know what? We should throw a Hugo Award at
I
this
just had
series.
no idea it was even eligible this year. Like I had no idea she had published something.
You know what?
I'm shocked that
Oh, go ahead.
like which category are we on, by the way, still?
We're just
We
gonna
have
jump
jumped
around
all
for-
the way around. We are on best series. We can go back to some other category.
Because I did not. Why was this long list? How I find out that Susanna Clark had published something new last year.
So I don't think it was eligible, actually. I think if it had made the short list, it probably would have been deemed ineligible because it wasn't actually a new story. It had
Okay.
previously been produced in audio form for the BBC Radio. But
Okay,
it
okay,
was, I did read it. I don't know how, I must have talked about it when I read, hold on.
I remember you talked about it because that's how I found out that it existed, and then I went and got a copy.
I'm
But that was-
shocked.
Where my copy is, I can't find it.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that like Penric and Desdemona by Louise McMaster Bujold is not higher up the long list.
I feel like that one, it's potentially not eligible because I think she won for the World of the Five Gods. which
Right,
I
it's
think
not
that
eligible.
was a part of. And so I think that's why it's not higher up is because they technically already won Best Series for the world that it's set in.
Mhm.
But can I just thank every other person aside from myself who who nominated Delicious in Dungeon Volume 14?
That was me.
Because it made it to the long list at least. We were so close. We were
you
so
were this
close.
close to greatness.
It was almost happened. There were only like what is there like 3? Yeah, there were only 3 other stories between Delicious in Dungeon and the shortlist.
Yeah. No, I did my part, Rhea. I nominated it.
I
I will-
nominated
Why-
it in best presentation or whatever, dramatic presentation.
I mean, I nominated it there as well, but also the like last volume was
I mean, Delicious in Dungeon season 1 did make the long list for long form.
once again, I would like to thank the Academy. I mean, I would like to thank the nominating buddy who nominated it.
I
Now,
nominated it.
Yeah,
all
for me,
of my eggs for next year are on Witch Hat Atelier because we can.
I'm
it
finally reading Witch Hat Atelier again. Maybe I'll be
it
up to
had-
date this time.
It has had 1 volume. That's eligible this year, I think, and then the art book is gonna come out, hopefully in time that it is also eligible.
It will be
And
by
then-
a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And then Kamome Shirahama will be eligible also in Best Professional Artist, I think.
so somewhat related. So best related work. That's another one for me. That's like, I think if we put our body, like if we like really push, I think we can get Magical Readathon onto the shortlist. I think that is the thing I'm going to be campaigning for, is getting Magical Readathon on the shortlist for best related work, because it got 9 nominations and I think it deserves to be on. If our fantasy bingo can be on the shortlist, then Magical Readathon for sure deserves to be on the shortlist.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, Epic the concept album got enough nominations that it got on the. Oh, thank you, my people. Thank you.
I am glad that Dave McCarty is excoriated by a woman in a fabulous hat did not make the long list, because holy shit, I was very tired of all the Chengdu bullshit on the short list.
Indeed. I think we are all over Chengdu.
We are over, but that's a very, very Worldcon Hugo Awards thing to happen.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for all the people who also nominated Chaos Season 1. It was a good showing. And fuck you, Netflix, for canceling it.
It's going to be interesting looking at the short form for next year if any Doctor Who is going to show up, because I know this last season was like, people have complicated feelings over the one that just ended this year.
Oh, let's put it this way: the Eurovision episode sure was a choice.
I haven't heard any of this.
Let's just put it this way, that it is quote unquote Hasbara at its finest, and I will just leave it at that.
I don't know what that means, but I'm
Israeli propaganda.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, and Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
But I am looking forward.
I think it was Verily Bitchy made a very good video about it, actually, that episode, and like analyzing it. I will.
Andor sweep next year better happen.
Oh yeah. But,
if Andor doesn't, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many reasons to watch Andor and nominate Andor right now.
Yeah.
Go do the thing.
Let's see. Anything else that kind of sticks out to me? Rec Center was really close to getting on the short list this year. It needed just 6 more nominations, worth 4.57 points. Yeah, let's see what else. Lodestar. I didn't realize that Andrew Joseph White had recused for Compound Fracture.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's
YA horror novel.
Oh.
And I don't know why he turned down on it. I don't think he's said.
No.
But we did know that already.
Yeah. And then I don't really have anything to add for the Astounding Award. I will say that I think, and this kind of goes back to my feelings about how it was handled in last year. I think had Jiran Jae won, they should have also awarded it for someone who had for eligibility still, because I think it, like, what happened fucked over people who were in their second year for this year.
But yeah, in the best fan cast, Stitch and Bitch needed in excess of 1.67 more points to get on the ballot. Wow, that was something.
The fact that we were ranked higher than our opinions are correct is like, it feels very good.
Well, it's because they
say they were going to recuse.
Oh, I forgot that they
Yeah.
recused themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What else?
that's kind of my feelings.
So I think we've maybe exhausted our discussion of the long list for now.
I do
Yeah,
agree
I
with
think
this
we can
for
move
Renee.
on
I
to books.
would love for professionals to stop winning Fancast.
Yes. Yes.
Professionals will stop winning Fancast when people stop nominating professionals for Fancast.
The thing is that a lot of professionals are also fans and do a good
That
job
is
with
true.
the podcast, and I cannot say anything bad about that. I have enjoyed them, but
Here's the
fact
thing,
that it's called Fancast.
I also enjoy, but I think I also enjoy the same content. Here's the thing, it's not the same level of playing field if you have the name recognition of, let's say, John Scalzi and decide to put up a podcast, and then you also have all of your connections to invite all of your
That's
editor.
hypothetical, right? He doesn't have a podcast.
No.
This is a completely hypothetical. I just pulled it out of my ass as an example.
I think
just check it.
I will not
the
put
least
this into
likely
the
one to do
universe,
a
though.
podcast.
What?
I mean, just in terms of, like, I don't think he would. He seems like he has enough on his plate already, both professionally and personally, where I don't see him as.
That's why he's the perfect example to use. In terms of the name recognition thing. But yeah, anywho, books. I have a pile right here.
I have like maybe 3 things to mention.
Rachel, you're hosting. You need to call on someone.
Kelsey.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me I'm hosting.
So since we talked last, I did finish The Tainted Cup. It was fine. I have very little to say about it. I liked it enough that I'm curious to read the second book to see which ideas he's going to develop from book 1 and in which directions. Like, I kind of hesitate to pass a whole lot of judgment based on just like what little we get in book 1. But it's like, it's not my new favorite thing. It's fine. I read The River Has Roots. Ooh. And I did really, really like this. This is very much my sort of thing. I was kind of expecting it to be a slam dunk 5-star read, and it wasn't quite. And I wonder if the problem with it wasn't the book itself, and if it was just that it's one of those books that has something significant in the back that's not part of the book. It has a bonus short story in the back that's this much of it, and for a book that's this short, and I liked the short story, but for a novella this short, like I was expecting there to be something more because there was that much more book, and so I was sort of caught.
And the short story is not related to the novella?
No, it's part of El Motar's upcoming short story collection.
Right. It's basically a preview of the story collection that's coming out next year. And like, if someone had warned me, there's a short story in the back of this, it's going to end sooner than you think, I might have had a better experience of this. As it is, I liked it a lot. This is the sort of whimsical fairy tale folklore inspired thing that it's my go-to subgenre, where when nothing else works, I can always fall back on it and be in my happy place. It's a retelling of the Two Sisters or Trois Sisters folk ballad that sort of, puts a good spin on that story. Anyways, I do recommend it. I do expect this will be on the Hugo shortlist next year.
Oh, I'm sure too. I have it on audio and I haven't listened to it yet, but thanks for letting me know that there's that story at the end of it. It's, yeah.
I don't know if the story is also on the audio version. I would assume. I don't know.
I think it might be.
I had that from the library,
Yeah.
and I had that for a loan from the library, and I failed library chicken, and I had to return it before I had a chance to finish it. So now I'm back in the queue.
And then I also mentioned that I am back to reading Witch Hat Atelier. I read the first 3 volumes, which are kind of a story arc. They end on, the 3rd volume ends on not a cliffhanger. So I had kind of stopped there for a while, and I meant to keep reading sooner than this. Anyways, I read volume 4. It was totally charming. I don't remember why I gave each of the first 3 volumes only 3 stars, but this was a pretty clear 4-star for me. So,
I always say it really gets going after the first 3 volumes. So.
I will also say that this is a series that just keeps upping the ante and keeps getting better. And I think volume 5 is where you really start to see a lot of the thematic elements that Kamome Shirahama has started to put in place in the first volumes, like you are starting to see the thematic through line in like around volume 5, and after that it's just like whee.
So very happy to be back into that story. I did feel like I've forgotten some things from the first 3 volumes that would be probably beneficial to remember, but I am not going to go back and reread them. I'm just soldiering ahead because I want to get further in the series. And then I did read also the first 2 books in the Cemeteries of Amalo series, Witness for the Dead and The Grief of Stones. I want to complain about these book covers. They are terrible.
They are so ugly.
Yeah, the book covers are not doing anyone
this one
any
is
favor.
not ugly. It doesn't have anything to do with the book. It feels to me, I have come up with a personal theory that this book cover, which it's actually a very nice image. It has this it has these cats in this like
filigree.
I never looked at it that closely to see.
It has cats. There are some cats in this book, but I don't think
any are in filigree.
Those are alley cats. Like, what are we doing here? My theory is that this must have been a proposed cover for the redesign of the Goblin Emperor, because in that book, cats are the symbol of the royal family, right? And so like having the cats in this like fancy filigree would make sense for that book. And yet the Goblin Emperor got that like absolute nothing cover for the redesign. Absolute nothing. And I'm so confused. And then this got a cover that would work better for the Goblin Emperor. And then this is atrocious. This is horrible. I hate to be the one hating on a purple book cover because purple is my favorite book cover color. However, The Grief of Stones in this book is the title of an opera. The title of the opera comes from the name of a ship that is shipwrecked in the opera. And the name of the ship is a reference to a folk story in which the stones in question are a castle wall. So why do we have a gemstone on the cover?
Because the person just took stock images and put them on the cover. This is like a very cheap turnaround for a book cover. Clearly,
like someone signed off on this who had not read the book.
yes.
It's so disappointing because the first cover for the Goblin Emperor is so
Was
iconic.
so good.
Yeah, like if you hire the Balbusso twins to design the perfect iconic book cover that still pulls people in after all these years, and you don't get the Balbusso twins to do anything for essentially a kind of spin-off series of the same universe.
You wanted to get a different cover artist because, you know, they weren't available or they turned down the work. That's fine. Get a different cover. This is Tor Books. Tor Books is 100% capable of hiring cover artists who read the book before making the art.
I will say,
this is done it many times before.
This is the type of cover I expect from Orbit, and I do mean that directly.
Yes, this is giving like 5th season level of lack of care.
Yeah. But even if with 5th season, you know, those covers were fine. They were passable. Not the best. But at least the Subterranean Press covers, though.
Yeah, those were
for 5th season, and the Finnish editions for those books actually they went with the Subterranean cover art for the regular editions in Finnish. Fun fact.
Anyway, I should actually talk about these books because I read this kind of right after finishing The Tainted Cup, which is also a mystery fantasy, and this was much more structurally interesting in terms of the storytelling for me. Like, The Tainted Cup is relying on a lot of very familiar mystery genre tropes, I think. And that's part of why it's so readable. It's part of why it's so palatable, so easy to get into. This is not that. It is also a book with a detective who is solving mysteries, but he's solving several mysteries at once that aren't necessarily connected to each other in any way except for how they affect him. So it's much more character driven. Like 2 of the 3 main mysteries in this end up being tangentially connected, but there's no like narrative promise that the mysteries are all going to be part of the same big plot, for example. What struck me that made this just like, I gave this book 5 stars. What made this a 5-star read for me was how much I wanted to visit Amalo after reading this book. Like, this is such a lovingly described city, and I am such a sucker for a really good fantasy city that feels really lived in. Like, I love city books. My 2 new to me 5-star reads of this year are The City in Glass and this one, and they are both city books in totally different ways. And I think I just really love cities.
I mean, Sarah Monette can really write a city book because, like, her first series.
You can plan like a travel itinerary to visit Amalo based just on what we learn about it in this book. Like, I have my list of tea houses I want to visit, and there's so many tea houses. I want to do the pilgrimage to the corn maze. I'm ready. When are we doing our Stitch and Bitch vacation trip to Amalo? It has such good public transit. Like, give me a city with real public transit. And I felt, you know, a little bit less of that in The Grief of Stones, just because this is a heavier book subject matter wise. You know, in this book, Thara Selahara is having a terrible day several days in a row, and, you know, poor guy. In this book, like, really bad stuff happens, I think. And you know, the city is still there and I still love it. It didn't hit me quite the same way, but I'm still very invested in this series. And do I have anything else? I am reading right now a middle grade book that I have to give back to the library. It's overdue, so I have to finish it. I don't know where it is right now, though. It's Hamra and the Jungle of Memories by I'm blanking on the name of the author. I'm looking it up. Hannah Al-Kaf. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a kind of a Little Red Riding Hood retelling set in Malaysia during like the height of the COVID pandemic. And I'm finding it really interesting to read a middle grade book where like the context is the COVID lockdowns and like the kids missing school and all of that, and how that informs like this fantasy adventure quest that we're having. So I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm not sure if I'm aware of a children's younger age group book that is like that.
Hannah Al-Kaf wrote the one young adult novel that was set in, I think, Malaysia in some kind of revolution. It has the motorcycle.
I think all of her books are set in Malaysia.
Yeah, because I remember specifically the kind of couple riding a motorcycle or a bike and
that would be The Weight of Our Sky. I'm now on Goodreads.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah,
she's written both YA and middle grade. I am reading her middle grade for reasons. This is a book that's hitting a goal on a challenge for me that I'm trying to check off, and it's been on my TBR for a while, so I'm enjoying it. And that's all.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
I can go next because I don't have a lot of books to talk about. I think I have 3.
But do you have any webtoons?
Oh,
as our webtoons correspondent.
There is. I have an update on the one that is currently my golden goose, the best boy.
A good one.
My good time boy. So I will be talking about that, but like the books that I'm reading, I think I talked about this previously a little bit about this book because I had just started reading it, I think, and I mentioned it, but I'm reading None of the Above by Travis Alabanza, which is a kind of interrogation about so None of the Above reflections on life beyond the binary. So it is a kind of interrogation of what makes up trans identity and how trans identity is kind of like developed basically at the gaze of cis people. And I would like to actually read a quote, which I thought was very poignant. If you make it all about the way I was born or an unmovable innate fact, then the identity in question has nothing to do with you and the responsibility falls solely on me. Then transness becomes all about the individual, how they were born, what genetics they may or may not have, how they are the anomaly to the rule, and less about the systems and circumstances that may have impacted the way they view themselves and their gender. It becomes all about how I gained knowledge around an immovable fact rather than how cisgender and Western binary thinking made gender 2 immovable posts to define myself within. And that's basically like one of the core thesis of this book is kind of like for example, would I, using myself as an example, would I be a gender fluid person if society and the systems in place did not force me to confront all the ways in which the current model of gender does not fit me. So it's very interesting. So basically, like, if you were not here to judge me, would I still be this way? You know, like this kind of like mostly like cis people enforce the binary, and therefore they also kind of, in a sense, also create the trans identity as we know it today, because the trans identity has not always been fixed and has not always been the same, because society and systems and structures have changed. It's very interesting. So would recommend. I started in Scotland and I'm making my way through it. And this is a book that I have been annotating. I'm writing like notes and stuff. So has been very interesting. I'm in a very good dialogue with that book. The other book that I'm reading is Non-Monogamy and Defying a Paradigm by Marla Schreiber, who is a content creator on Instagram. And this is essentially kind of going like a thesis on mononormativity and kind of like talking about relationship anarchy. It's not necessarily teaching me anything I did not already know, but at the same time, it's also a book that I am engaging in very good dialogue with. So I'm doing annotations. I'm kind of writing my own thoughts. So I think it's like a very good like primer if you are new to the topic, like a very introductory read. And it's also kind of like interrogating the idea of, like, for example, why do we have this idea that monogamy is the only way, or like the only acceptable form of a relationship, and what happens if people want to be in like multiple romantic relationship or no romantic relationship at all, or if people want to be in platonic partnerships and stuff like this, like what, like so it's kind of like interrogating mononormativity as a concept. And then the final thing before I unleash the webtoon, not a rant, but like update. I'm reading A Rebellion of Care by David Gate, which is a poetry collection. And I also want to read this one poem that was in this collection, which was the one that made me want to pick it up in the first place. So the poem is called They Them, and it goes like this. If God created night and day, and dawn, of course, and dusk, and the tangerine rose pink sunset, and the deep amethyst twilight, and the infant bright of morning, then to perceive the world in binary is to forego knowledge of the divine. So this has like essays and poems, and they are all kind of centering topics of community and friendship, and kind of like building community and resisting like stuff like consumerism and apathy. It is very like, the person is from the UK but lives in America, like in the United States. So the poetry is kind of like centered around US like politics, but at the same time, I have found it like really inspiring. Like, it's a little bit of 50-50 mixed bag. Like, some of the poems are like really excellent. There is a really good poem on friendship here that I really liked. I'm currently halfway through, and it's been really interesting so far. So those are the things that I am currently reading, and I have not actually finished anything since the last time we talked, unless you count the summer Hikaru died, which I have been continuing, and it's still pretty good. But okay, the webtoon, Pizza Delivery Man in the Golden Palace.
Yes, this one.
It's excellent. So, since the last time I talked about this series, our main couple has encountered what we call a little bit of a snafu. Unfortunately, Woo-won had to go through a very traumatic incident. I praised the series last time for its handling of the abusive father situation. There was no redemption. The asshole bit the dust, and we are happy. Not that anyone deserves to die, but I'm just saying that when it comes to Korean dramas and webtoons and a lot of these stories, usually there is a redemption arc for really irredeemable kind of characters that you would not want to be redeemed if you are a morally sane person. So the fact that this webtoon did not do that and instead was like, nope, this man was a piece of shit and we are not like spending any more time with this man than we absolutely have to, was excellent. So basically that instigated what is now a kind of mental health arc for Woo-won. So it has not been easy sailing for the relationship. There has been a lot of angst. There has been a lot of, unfortunately, dubious consent as well related to this. But like at least the story is acknowledging, and the characters are working through it. And I'm expecting good things. The art has at points been a little bit like not rushed per se, but like compared to the very first the first season, which was like epic when it came to the art, this one does feel like the artist has probably had to crunch it a little bit for the webtoon release, which is not the best, but it still looks gorgeous. And I'm like, this is one of my favorite ongoing ongoing webtoons and ongoing BL series, to be sure. So excellent time. That was me. That was all. That was all they wrote, or all they read.
I can go next. I've read a lot since we last met, because I know last time I was like, I'm in a slump, the Hugos messed me up. This time, I've read a fair bit. A lot of it is nonfiction. But other than one that was mid, I think like I've had a really good run. So let's do nonfiction and then I'll do fiction. So for nonfiction, I read Bad Company, Private Equity, and The Death of the American Dream by Megan Greenwell. So she is a former journalist. She used to work at Deadspin, and then Deadspin got bought out by a private equity firm, and they wanted to really fundamentally change what Deadspin was doing, and Megan Greenwell stood up for her staff and got fired. And so this book is kind of her looking into private equity, and she was looking at 4 specific companies and the people who, or 4 specific areas and people who worked in those areas and how they were affected. So it was a woman who used to work at Toys R Us, a doctor in a rural hospital that got bought by a private equity firm, community activist who was living in an apartment complex that got bought by a private equity firm. And then I need to double check what last one was. Oh, and then a newspaper reporter whose paper got bought by private equity. And it was very interesting because like I knew it's very much kind of like a starting point for what private equity is and how it affects different areas. Like I knew private equity was somewhat involved in like medical and like hospitals and stuff in the US, but I didn't realize like how predatory it was. And so they'll do things like sell the land to a separate company, and then like that they own, and then have the hospital rent the land from the company. Yeah. And so it's just so fucked up, and and just hearing how it like has its claws in like all sorts of different areas was like really depressing. And she does include like how there's like attempts to push back against private equity, but I think it's still something that like is going to get worse before it gets better under our current political climate. Then
I mean, at this point, anybody knows that if private equity gets involved, that's like the death knell for whatever they bought. So it's, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And then I read Wild Faith, How the Christian Right is Taking Over America by Talia Levin. So she also wrote Cultural Warlords, which I read a few years ago and really liked. And so this, I think, is like a good companion piece to Jesus and John Wayne, where it's looking at American evangelicalism, specifically like right-wing evangelicalism. And it's specifically focused in like how they're trying to take over the culture in America. And then the second part of the book is specifically talking about like their influence on children and child rearing. And this came out because Talia Levin had like done a series of posts on her Substack talking about like to raise up a child and kind of and like the Bill Gothard and all of these like evangelical parenting guides that are fundamentally like extremely abusive towards children and how it impacted people growing up. So like I said, I think this is a good companion piece to Jesus and John Wayne, where Jesus and John Wayne gives you an overview and then Wild Faith like digs into like the specific component of it. It is a very dark read. Definitely like huge trigger warnings for child abuse in this book. I'd really recommend listening to it if you're in the right, or reading it if you're in the right headspace. But if you're wondering like why so many people were celebrating when James Dobson died, like this book really digs into that because he was hugely influential in evangelical child rearing spaces.
Even I know of him.
And then I like all my nonfiction is like somewhat depressing. And then I listened to Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. This one, like, it was very interesting because I think I've mentioned this before on Stitch and Bitch, but like kind of epidemiology and learning about diseases is kind of like one of my side hobbies, like one of the things I like reading about. And I hadn't really done a lot on learned a lot about tuberculosis. So I thought this was I think it's a good overview book. I think it works as a piece of pop science or like popular science nonfiction, where its aim is not to like dig deep, but to give people who might not have thought about tuberculosis really good, like a good overview of what the disease is, what its history is, and then what it's currently happening in tuberculosis. And I can like it's very evident that this is something that John Green cares very deeply about in the text. So I thought it was a very good overview. And I also appreciate at the end of the book, he gives you a list of other books to check out that go more in depth, not only in about tuberculosis, but also how diseases affect society, which is why I read the last nonfiction book, Epidemics in Society, From the Black Death to the Present by Frank M. Snowden. This was one of the ones that John Green recommended. And again, I think this is a good overview. It is a very long book. It's like 582 pages. The audiobook is like 24 hours long. Like it is a beast of a book. But it covers like 6 specific diseases and talks not only about like what happened, like the medical side of things, but how it influenced society. So it talks about the plague, TB, cholera, malaria, polio, and then emerging diseases, or HIV, sorry, not polio, HIV, AIDS, and then emerging diseases like Ebola and the OG SARS before we had COVID.
Oh, indeed.
So this one, like, again, I think it's a good overview. Like, it is long, but because it is covering so much, it doesn't like get super in depth. So I'd say if someone is like interested in like a specific disease in a specific period of time, there are definitely other books, but I think it did a solid job of talking about things like how pandemics disrupt a lot of social norms that make it difficult to come back from. So he was talking specifically about the Black Death and how it really disrupted things like funerals because people weren't allowed to have funerals. And so this kind of social gathering where people like come together and communally mourn someone wasn't happening. And it was like disrupting social bonds and leading to a lot of change. It was also leading to pogroms and anti-Semitic violence against European Jews. But then he also talked, like, not just with the plague, but also talks about how society adjusted with different diseases. So, like, with the plague, it was the creation of the plague wards, and how that was kind of one of the first, like, non-royal, non-church state body that had, like, specific powers and specific ways they could control the populace. And then it also talks about things like towns and cities like Pasadena, California, that were specifically designed for like people who had tuberculosis. And it was designed, or like New Mexico being a state that like would bring, like, welcome TB patients in, or things like that. So very interesting, very long, very much kind of like this overview of different plagues and diseases. And then for my actual fiction, I might have talked briefly about this last time. I finished Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen, and this was very good. It is about this young woman, Gilda, who she has severe depression. She has suicidal ideation, and she's trying to get help and having problems getting help. And she sees this ad for like this grief support group at a Catholic church, and she goes, but she gets mistaken as someone who's interviewing for the receptionist job. And so she lies and says she is, and she just kind of gets caught in these lies. And then she's also trying to figure out what happened to the previous receptionist, Grace, and how she died. And it's this really beautiful like, it's pretty short, but it's about grief and being a lesbian in a small town, dealing with unhealthy family dynamics where everyone is trying to pretend they're fine, but they're really not, and kind of the consequences. And then also kind of like the beauty of seeking community. So I really liked this one. I have friends who really love Emily Austen, and I will definitely be seeking out her work. And then one of the best books I read this year was Notes from a Regicide by Isaac Fellman. This is more like speculative lit fic. Because like there are speculative elements, but it's very much more on the lit fic-y side. And it's a dual point of view. So the first part is, the first POV is this young man, Griffin Kemming. He's a trans man, and he's writing about his adoptive parents who were both trans, who were refugees from this state called Stephensport, or this like city, which I'm pretty sure is in like, they don't say where it is, but context clues make me believe it's in Montreal. Stephensport, and he's writing after they've died, and he's writing about how he came to live with them, his experience. Oh, sunshine.
Hermes today.
And then the second point of view is his adoptive father, Antoine, who is writing from a jail cell after a failed revolution, and he had committed regicide, because that's why it's Notes from a Regicide, and it's his history in the city and like what happened to lead him to that point. And it's this really beautiful story about love and transness and grief, and I really loved the characters. I really thought that Fellman did a good job of like fleshing them out and making them real people. And one thing I thought that in the hands of a lesser author is that Griffin being adopted by his parents doesn't fix any of them. Like, they are still very, like, all traumatized, all hurt people who, while they love each other, they don't always fit neatly into each other and still have the ability, like, either intentionally or unintentionally, to hurt one another. And I thought that was just like very true to life and very realistic. And I think in the hands of a different author, we wouldn't see that complexity. And it's very much grappling, like the book itself is like, Griffin's side is grappling with the fact that he didn't really, like, he's trying to figure out like how, like, I can't ask my parents about this. I can't know my parents anymore. What do I do with this? And then with Antoine, it's him, he's also grieving, and I won't spoil it, but he's also grieving, and he's also like in his grief documenting his love of the city, of his wife. Yeah, I loved this book a lot. I need to get a physical copy so I can reread and annotate.
That sounds really cool. Like, can I get the title again so I can put it in
Notes
story
from a
time?
Regicide.
Notes from a Regicide. By Isaac Fellman?
Yep.
Okay, it's going on my to read.
I really want to hear what you have to think about this, but I loved it. I loved it a whole lot.
I need to check if my library has it, because that sounds really cool.
Let's see. I read Fevered Star. I didn't like it as much as Black Sun. It's very much a middle book.
That's opinion. A lot of people's opinion on Fever Star. Very much a middle book.
I read The Sun and the Void by Gabriela. So for Magical Readathon, I read The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero La Cruz, which is a Venezuelan-inspired epic fantasy, and it's like metal magic and these two young women, Reina and Eva, who are like part human, part species indigenous to this land, and Reina is a Nosriel who have tails and who are like pretty visibly non-human, and she's traveling to, like, she gets a letter from her grandmother and is traveling, and she gets attacked and her heart gets ripped out, and is her grandmother, like, to save her, puts in this contraption that makes her dependent on this metal iridio. So she, like, to show her worth and to like have the family, she does some pretty awful things for her grandmother. And then Eva is part Valco, which is another species that has antlers, and she doesn't know who her father is. She's a bastard living in a pretty well-off family, and she's trying to figure out like where she fits in. And there's gods and magic and stuff. And this is a book where I think the ideas were very good, but it definitely needed at least another editing pass to be tighter. Like, I got to a point like about halfway and I'm like, wait a minute, there's still 50% of this book left. Why is there still 50% of this book left? And so like I'm interested to read book 2 to see if Romero La Cruz develops as a writer. But it was very much a book where there were really interesting ideas and I could see what the author was trying to do, but it definitely needed to be tightened. There needed to be some things cut, and like, yeah, this was a book where it was kind of let down on the editing. It is pretty, like, it does have some dark moments, Ramsey. And then I read the new Sanggu Mandana book, which is Guide to Magical Innkeeping, which I liked it. It's like a 3.5, 3.75. We're following Sarah Swan, who, when resurrecting her great aunt, loses most of her magic. And she wants to try and get it back. And a magical historian, Luke Larson, might be able to help her, but he's also dealing with his own issues. He and his sister are both autistic. She is more nonverbal autistic, and so he's trying to find a way to support her and get her like what she needs without changing her. And so I thought like that representation was really good, because I think not just having an autistic sister, but him also being autistic, and the fact that he is like trying to protect his sister from going through some of the same things that happened to him and that affected him growing up. So I really liked the relationship with Luke and his sister. I thought Luke and Sarah's relationship was good. Yeah, I really like Mandana's writing. Like I said, 3.5, 3.75 for me. And then the book I finished yesterday was But Not Too Bold by Ache Puello, which is a novella from Tor. It's translated from Portuguese, and it's like this gothic, sapphic monster romance where Dalia, who has been living in this house since she was a young child, has been raised to be the keeper of the keys, and because the previous keeper of the keys was eaten by the lady of the capricious house, Anathema, who is this humanoid spider who occasionally eats people, including her brides, sometimes the servants. And
I have a very specific question for you about this book. Let me know when I can ask it, but keep
you
talking.
can ask it.
The title to me implies that it's a Bluebeard retelling, but nothing about the book. It is. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a straight retelling, but it's definitely a reinterpretation of Bluebeard.
That's what I wanted to know. Because nothing about the marketing has said that it is, and none of the reviews I've seen have said that it is. But I'm like, with that title, it has to be, right?
It is a Bluebeard reinterpretation.
Good. That's what I wanted to know.
And I liked this. I gave it 4 stars. I think, and this might just be because I'm still like salty about Someone You Can Build a Nest in. It is definitely a much better version of lesbian monster romance because it never forgets that Anathema is a monster, that she does eat people, that there is this risk to our main character that she might get eaten. And so it's pretty short, but I really liked it. I potentially will be nominating it for the Hugos, depending on some other stuff I read.
Can I get the title again?
Because, but not too bold.
But not too bold?
Yeah, so 2 is TOO.
As in be bold, but not too bold. Or your heart's blood shall run cold. That's from Bluebeard.
Hache Puello?
Yep.
Okay, it's going on my to read.
And then in other fairy tale reinterpretations, I am currently reading Little Thieves by Margaret Owen for Magical Readathon. I'm not super far in, but I'm enjoying it.
Series. I have heard nothing but rave reviews of that series from people I trust. I need to read them.
Yeah. So the premise, it's a Goose Girl retelling, but instead of our POV being the princess whose life gets taken over, we are following the servant who steals the princess's identity. And in this one, Vanja, she has been living as the princess for about a year and is also on the side stealing things because she is a thief. And she gets cursed by a low god. And so she starts having like jewels sprout from her body, and she needs to find a way to break the curse before she dies of becoming a jewel. So yeah, that is, like I said, I am sorry. I have been reading a lot since we last met.
But that was a lot of good stuff. I got 2 recs that I can immediately like start hounding my library for.
Yeah, like I would say like for the most part, it was a really good run of reading. I think like, I wouldn't say it's bad, but like definitely The Sun Into the Void was probably the biggest disappointment of this run of reading. And I would also say, considering how much I loved Black Sun, Fevered Star was also a bit of a disappointment. Like it wasn't a bad book, but it didn't meet the highs of Black Sun.
Mm-mm.
And that is it for me.
I have not read very much since the last live show either, so it's going to be a pretty short update from me. I'm in the middle of a bunch of things, but I have been having a really hard time picking things back up and actually finishing them. So mostly I've been reading manga. I'm almost up to date with the Apothecary Diaries manga series now. I've got the like 12 and 13 to read that I just got from the library, so I've been enjoying that. It's mostly a repeat. Like all this has been adapted into the anime series, and I think the anime is a lot better than the manga. Just the story beats, the transitions, kind of like tying all these little stories together. I think it works a lot better in the anime, but for right now, reading the manga has just been like reminding me of favorite moments and fun stuff. It just makes me very happy. So I also finished reading Evocation by S.T. Gibson, which I think I mentioned I was reading it last time.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did finally finish that. And And like Rhea, I was kind of like raving about the like messed up emotions throuple people working out their issues thing in the first half of it. And I feel like a lot of the like characterization, some plot stuff really fell apart in the last like 40 pages
Yeah.
of the book. It just
It does go into what I like to say speed running.
yeah, so
Like
speedrunning, and it lost a lot of what it had been building up with the characters and their relationships and their own development. I felt like all of a sudden all three of the main characters started really contradicting their previous like behavior and growth, and it was like, wow, how are these people like in one sentence they're one way and the next sentence they're completely different.
I will also say that I think they should have not introduced the fourth kind of, because the book series is going to be a quartet, so there's going to be a point of view character, like the main character for each of the books. And I think they should not have introduced the fourth character in this book, because that person was completely unnecessary to the proceedings of the entire thing. And honestly would have, I don't know if you feel the same, but like I think it would have benefited the book if that time that person was around could have been used for actual character development of the main three.
It was almost like there was this manufactured reason to go see this person who had been mentioned before, but we didn't actually need to see them. I was like, oh, we're gonna just pick up and go see this person, but they can't really help, so that was pointless. And oh yeah, more people might be making googly eyes at each other, and I was like, you already had like 3 million other things going on to solve.
I think it was a contractual thing. Like I'm making a quartet about 4 people, and I need to establish all of the people. You could have established the fourth person in the next book or something.
Yeah. Also, they were mentioned. Like you knew who this person was. So they wouldn't have come out of the blue if they waited until the next book.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I finished it, but I pretty much skim read the last 40 pages because I was like, oh crap, this is not bleh. I'm very on the fence about reading the second book, Ascension.
Well, you can wait until I have read it and I can give you my opinion, because I have the book.
And let me know if I should get a hold of it. None of my libraries have this book, so I would have to like interlibrary loan request it. So let me know if it's worth the effort. It's also, that one is about Reese.
Yeah, and Reese is the least interesting character.
The least interesting out of all of them. And
it's because he's so self-important, I think. Like not in the same way that David is self-important, because David is like an egotist, but Reese is like pompous. He's like, I know better than you.
Yes, pompous, but it feels like we're supposed to give him a pass for his attitude because he loves his wife so much. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not how it works.
like I'm sorry, but I have been burned by wife guys before.
So that's the only novel that I finished. I also read the 6th volume of Lore Olympus. I'm pretty sure, isn't Lore Olympus done? Like, it's actually done on Webtoon.
So. Oh, Lore Olympus is done?
I think so.
Does that mean I can actually read it now that it's done?
Be honest, I stopped reading it because I got mad at the Demeter slander.
I mean,
I also,
it doesn't really paint any of these characters in a good light, I have to say. I'm not even really rooting for the main characters. I think they're kind of children, but anyway.
The thing is, like, I have been resisting reading Lore Olympus for a long time because, like, I just, like... it got so popular.
I decided I was done. I didn't need any more.
It got so popular that my basically demand avoidance kicked in, and everyone was kind of like, Lore Olympus is great, and at that point in booktube, like everyone was kind of like, you need to read Lore Olympus, it's great, Hades and Persephone retelling, and I'm here like, well, now I'm not doing it since all of you are telling me to do it.
I had to take a really long break from it because it's very soap opera-y, and I had to be in the right mood to get back to it. So yeah, we'll see. I don't actually know if I will finish the series. I have a feeling like with where the plot line is at about volume 6, I might read volume 7 and then be like, okay, I think I know what's going to happen next, and I don't know. So, but yeah. Oh, I did read one other novel. This is me just trying to remember. I read more fluff. I read.
Oh my god! Oh my god, she's so cute! The belly!
I love that the belly is not a trap.
She's so cute!
I'm so surprised the belly is not a trap.
Dude, the belly
with
has never
Hermes,
been a
the
trap
belly
for
is
her and
always a
Luke.
trap.
No, not for her and Luke. They love belly rubs.
So cute.
Anyway, so I read The Entanglement of Rival Wizards. This was just a completely random buy when I was at a bookstore. I was like, I want to buy something. This looks cute. Queer fantasy romance, enemies to lovers sort of thing. I consumed it within 24 hours of buying it, and it was good. It was fun. I am not going to read the next one because I think it's going to be a sports romance, and I don't care about that character. But yeah, wizards, academics, they hate each other, but they have to work with each other, and it turns out they're really hot for each other. That's
Is it
no.
Is it like two guys?
Yes.
Yeah, it's apparently critical, like if not exactly Critical Role fanfic, it is very much inspired by Critical
I am
Role.
now less intrigued.
I'm pretty sure somebody pointed out that the way that the characters are illustrated on the cover is basically like fan art of like actual characters from Critical Role or a video game or something.
Can we stop with the fan fiction?
I
Your
don't know.
book publishing pipeline.
Anyway, I am not familiar with anything that might have inspired this, so I just read it for what it is on the surface, and I did very much enjoy it, but it is not one of those queer fantasy romance series that I'm going to continue reading like all the books. It was the first one's fine. That's it. This is like the kind of thing I have been in the mood to finish recently.
Well, that's it. That is good, and I'm glad for your entertainment. But on a publishing trend scale, I need these fan fiction to traditional publishing things to stop.
It's
Please.
getting old.
Please, like you can agent the author. But can we stop with the filing of the serial numbers and releasing like fanfic as like? Can we? I want original works. Thank you.
Or at least like do a better job of hiding it.
Yeah,
I mean, sure, but
covers where you can recognize, like, oh yeah, this is based on a story where these were the actors. Like, I can tell that's.
I'm looking at you, love the Ellie Hazelwood, the first one. It's so clearly meant to be like Adam Driver and.
Look,
Allie Hazelwood.
Yeah.
Like we knew. Like here's the thing: Allie Hazelwood is 100% the patient zero for this new run. I think like we had a little bit with like we had some with like 50 Shades and like Christina Lauren, but it didn't get to the saturation that we're seeing now, and I hate it. And Allie Hazelwood and Thao Lee will answer for their crimes one day.
Yes.
I'm one of those people who actually really enjoyed The Love Hypothesis. I think at the time that I read it, it was like a 5-star, super enjoyable read. But by the time I read my third thing by Allie Hazelwood, I went, aha! All of this seems very familiar and rehashed.
Oh, it's very derivative as well.
It's derivative and like, I don't know if she's branched out from her STEMinist era, which was...
Well, she has the paranormal ones with Bride and Mate.
Oh,
Oh.
let's not talk about that one. I tried because the cover looked cool. No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Do not touch the bride. It will leave you yearning for the sanity you had before you picked it up.
Well, I think that when it comes to queer romances, historical and fantasy queer romances, I'm going to stick with KJ Charles and Cat Sebastian and know that I will be getting original things that are not like AO3 fic gussied up for a publisher, and
Yes.
I'll be happy with that. So
Exactly.
so that is what I read. We have 30 minutes left in this live show. I'm sorry.
I was promised I would be able to talk about maybe Happy Ending because I didn't get to talk about it last month.
Yes.
Go
Talk
ahead.
about it. Media time.
For media, I'm going to do a bit of a gosh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Rant.
No, I am going to do when you talk about something that's not what we normally talk about on this tangent. I think tangent, maybe. Anyways, I'm going to talk about a Broadway show. This last year's winner for Best Musical at the Tonys was maybe Happy Ending, and I finally saw it in July. And I've been waiting 2 months to be able to talk about it on the live stream because I think I saw it like right after our July live stream, or maybe our July live stream was early in the month. So I didn't get to talk about it in July, and we didn't have time in September. So this is now like Broadway discourse tea that is 2 months old, but I feel like it's the sort of thing that like maybe the genre readers who watch our stream would be interested in hearing about because it is science fiction related and not necessarily happening in the SFF community. So maybe Happy Ending is originally a Korean musical. The English language version, I would, from what I gather, from what I've seen online, is not so much a direct translation of the Korean version. It's more like adapted from the Korean version with the same, writer-composer team, one of whom is American and one of whom is Korean. But it is a science fiction musical that is set in future Korea, where both of the main characters are robots. And I liked the show quite a bit. I think it's not like groundbreaking from an SFF genre perspective. You cannot expect groundbreaking SFF from Broadway in any way, shape, or form. You just can't.
Why not?
Because these people don't.
I quite liked Hadestown.
I quite liked Hadestown too. I didn't love it, but I liked it. I will say, so the story of this show is that these two characters are both helper bots, who are these humanoid robots who have been retired to this like apartment complex for retired helper bots once their human owners are done with them, and they are going obsolete. Their replacement parts have been discontinued, and they end up meeting each other and going on a road trip and falling in love. And the sort of thematic core of it is, is it worthwhile to, love someone if you know that it can't last, and all of these things that are, it's essentially about mortality, but through the lens of these robots that are going obsolete. And needing more and more to try and, keep themselves running.
So like
Anyway.
Wall-E.
What?
So like Wall-E.
WALL-E isn't about robots that are going obsolete.
No, but Wall-E has to in the end of
still
Wall-E,
doing-
they have to go back to Earth to find parts to fix him.
Oh, yeah, but they also go back to Earth because they're going to plant plants and repopulate Earth.
Well, yes, but the
Um,
robot bits is what sticks out to me in Wall-E.
Yeah, maybe. Anyways, it's a little bit of a rom-com with,
What?
She
It's a
fell.
rom-com?
there is humor in this that's genuinely very funny.
Okay.
And it's a very sweet show. It's a little bit heartbreaking, a little bit funny. It's got that mix. So that's what the show is about. And the controversy that happened at the end of July around the time I saw this show has to do with recasting that was done. So I saw this with the original Broadway cast. The two lead actors were Helen J. Shen and Darren Criss. Count me as one of the people who learned because of this show that Darren Criss is Asian American. I did not know that. Many people
he's Filipino.
So a lot of, sort of publicity to do was made about how this show was featuring Asian American actors. There is a white guy in the show who I think that character wasn't even in the Korean version. They just added this random white guy to come sing these jazz songs that Oliver is obsessed with. But the main cast are Asian American. They're robots. So you could make the argument that they technically don't have to be. But there is so little Asian and Asian American representation on Broadway that I think it meant a lot to a lot of people that they were. I think Darren Criss became the first Asian American actor to win a Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical for this show. And that made news. That's, and I do think from my experience of seeing the show that, when you have that representation on Broadway, those audiences show up for the show in a way that they don't necessarily for other shows. That's my anecdotal experience of having been in the audience. They announced that when Darren Criss was leaving the show in August, he was going to be replaced by an entire white guy who I had never heard of. I take it I live under a rock in terms of who's important in Broadway these days. I had never heard of this guy. Apparently, a lot of other people had. But the white guy taking over the role of Oliver, they were making, I guess, some big deal about it because he is Helen J. Shen's real life boyfriend. And so that was supposed to be cute or something. Anyways, cue the enormous backlash, just as you would expect when you cast a white guy in the Korean musical that you were touting your Asian American cast for. And there is some amount of nuance to this in the fact that, the characters are robots and there's nothing in the script that says what they're supposed to look like, really, except that they're humanoid. And so we were having all of a sudden in July, all of this discourse about casting in the Broadway community that I feel is the same sort of discourse that the science fiction community has about casting of non-human characters and stuff, all the time. But this was a different community having parallel discourse. And I found it very interesting in that way, especially in the context of Broadway, where roles written for Asian leads are so hard to come by. And they announced that, this guy is only going to be doing a temporary run, and then Darren Criss is going to be coming back after that. I guess he needed time off. But they're going to have to recast this show again multiple times if it's, continues to be a success and it keeps running. And the hope is that they've learned from this backlash and that they will continue to cast Asian or Asian American actors in these roles. I just thought that was, Broadway drama that I am more used to seeing that sort of thing in the SFF world. But yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate Life very much the first time meme.
What meme is that? I don't know the meme.
It's the meme where they're basically like putting people like they're like hanging people, and then there's, I think, James Franco's character is like first time, and the other guy is just like crying when they're putting on the news.
Oh.
I don't know this meme.
I don't know this meme either, but I think I get it.
I don't know the movie that is from, but I know the meme.
Look up Know Your Meme.
But one of the other layers to that casting controversy is that, like, Darren Criss is one of the producers on the show, so he must have signed off on the casting.
It's
and,
from
so there's some
Scruggs.
Some disappointment in him as well, I think. And we can also assume that Helen J. Shen was okay with it because this guy is her boyfriend. So, like, who do we get disappointed in here? Do we get disappointed in these actors? Do we get disappointed in the rest of the production? Like, do we get disappointed in the actor who has done nothing except accept a role he was offered? Should he have turned down the role, said he was pulling out once the controversy over the announcement blew up? He did not. I think he's currently playing the role. I haven't heard anything about how he's doing.
Okay. I personally like this is kind of like I remember at one point and you can be very much of the mind of Hamilton, but like Hamilton had the blind casting, basically, like the idea that like anyone should be able to play anyone. And I think at one point there was some small controversy when they were, I guess, planning on like having some of the main roles be like gender bent, or like a female singer would have sung for example, Jefferson. I don't think that actually even came to pass. But like that caused like a roar at that point, even though that show is supposed to like have this kind of open-ended casting that anyone should be able to play any kind of role in that show. But that's just what came to mind of the story.
Does anybody else have media they want to discuss?
I have not been. So I had been watching Strange New Worlds, but I stopped watching this season. I might binge and catch up, but this season has been really up and down, but on the more downside.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really disappointing because I really liked the first two seasons, but I feel like this third season, I watched up through, I think, episode 5. It feels regressive in a way that the other two don't, where there's just a lot of focus on relationships at the expense of the female characters, which is...
I've been looking forward to the third season. That's a little disappointing to hear.
Yeah, like, of the episodes I saw, the first episode, like, so the first episode is resolving the cliffhanger from season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2, relationship episode. Episode 3, I'm trying to remember what, like, relationship episode where it's like Spock dealing with him and Chapel, like him and Chapel breaking up. Episode 4 is, sorry, I'm pulling up the episode list, and that also is a sign of like how much I'm like not remembering. Episode 3 was fun. That was like a kind of zombie. Episode 4, like, things were going well, and then we get this relationship reveal, which is like, did it need to happen?
Ew.
And then episode 5, like, it starts really interesting, but then again we have like relationship stuff. I don't know. It's frustrating because the like Spock's romance life is not why I'm watching this show.
Spock has a romance?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not with Kirk?
So the first 2 seasons, it's him and Chapel, and then they break up at the end of season 2.
So when does Kirk come in?
So
I really like Chapel.
I do too, and it's frustrating that so much of her plotline has been around her boyfriends. But Kirk shows up in like an alternate timeline at the end of season 1, and then he guest stars in some episodes of season 2 and 3.
And
but
his relationship with Spock is
developing, because like he and Spock like just meet at the end of an episode, and sees like he's not on the Enterprise right now. He's on
okay.
Who's the character who the time travel episode? Because she met him, but a different version.
Lon.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with season 4, because they had mostly filmed it by the time season 3 aired. So I don't know, like, because I think across the board, season 3 was disappointing for a lot of people. So I don't know, like, what changes they'll be able to make.
I didn't realize that they were already like a go for season 4.
They got renewed for seasons 3 and 4 at the same time, and then season 5 is going to be a shortened final season.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like I'll probably catch up at some point. It's disappointing that a show, that's not filling me with a lot of hope right now. That a show that I had really enjoyed in seasons 1 and 2 is kind of shitting the bed this way.
Well, this is disappointing.
I mean, you might feel differently. I will say my bit of joy this week or lately has been Great British Bake Off is back. And it's a good cast of bakers this year. Like, there's no one so far that I'm like, why are you here? They have a drag king as one of the contestants.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
How does that come up with baking?
Oh, because they talk about their personal lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll be like, John is a doctor in training. When he's not learning to save lives, he wows his colleagues with his ingenious bakes. Things like that.
Okay. Now I get it. I don't watch British Bake Off, so
it's very soothing. I really am glad. I mean, this is I think her 3rd season, but like I'm so glad they have Allison as co-host, because Matt Lucas was an energy vampire. Like, he actively made the show worse and unwatchable. But yeah, I'm trying to get stuff done because Hades 2 is coming out.
Indeed. Hades 2.
Hopefully
on Thursday.
Hopefully my Switch Lite can handle it. But I am looking forward to playing it.
I have not played Hades 2 in early access since the Warsong update, which introduced Ares. and I only played a little bit of Warsong Update because I was kind of like, okay, it is starting to get to the point where 1.0 is pretty close. So I purposefully did not touch it after Warsong because I kind of wanted to keep some things fresh. But will be interesting to see how it will be starting the new game, because in early access they basically, I did not make one, like I only played one single save file, so I did not create a new save file after updates were made. So they changed the entire grasp system of how you collect Psyche, and then they also changed up some of the like the resources gathering things that you get. So it will be very different experience starting the game afresh now compared to early access, like when I have been playing it. I'm so excited. I'm probably going to be buying it for the Switch because I have it on PC, and if you bought it in early access, you will automatically get the 1.0. But Supergiant has developed, like, so it supports crossplay between Switch and Steam. So if you have it on PC and you start it on Switch, if you sync up your Steam, it should sync up the save files for you. So I'm excited. It will be fantastic. But unfortunately, I'm also going to the Love and Anarchy Film Festival next, or not unfortunately, it's gonna be fun, but it's 3 days of movies. I'm going to have back-to-back movie showings on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I can't be playing Hades 2 while I'm at the movies.
You just
But
have
at
too many
least-
fun things to do.
Yeah, but at least I will get to see the Thai horror comedy about a guy who is married to a ghost who possesses a vacuum cleaner.
I still can't get over that.
I'm so excited.
What?
I'm so excited. It will be the best.
I expect
Next Stitch and Bitch, I will tell you all about my adventures in Love and Anarchy Film Festival. Indeed, so here's the thing with the films. I have 20 minutes between each film, and some of them are in different movie theaters. So I will have to run to get to the other movie theater. They're like a couple blocks away from each other. But like I have to run to get to the other movie theater to be like able to see the other movie. So that will be interesting.
You won't be the only one. You'll probably be like in a pack of people who are like, oh, we gotta get to the next theater.
Exactly. Wait. Did Channing Tatum have a role in Demon Slayer dub?
Yep.
What is this?
Infinity Castle came out recently. Who did Channing Tatum voice in Infinity Castle? The hell?
Okay.
Who did he? Which character? Keizo? Who is this person?
Oh wait, Demon Slayer. This is the the screamy one. Okay.
Yeah, the show that you did not like, and the show that I also kind of do not like, but it is carried by its animation, and I purposefully watch it only because it's like basically eye candy. It is very well animated. UFO Table is basically just like severely gassing up the original. I see. The original manga, because I don't. I'm going to tell you something controversial. I was not a fan of Demon Slayer. I
The
now
only
that we
thing
are
I
now that
remember
we are between friends here,
it's
Kimetsu no Yaiba, not
Between
my
friends
favorite
and
thing.
the entire public internet, right?
Well, we're all friends here. We're all friends here. Just do not put Kimetsu no Yaiba on any or Demon Slayer on any of the tags anywhere, so
No.
they can't find this portion. I just don't think it's like it's fine. It's fine. But I don't think I don't think Demon Slayer is like the masterpiece that everyone touts it out to be.
No, that would just be Jujutsu Kaisen or something. So
I mean, sure, I also support like non-men in the shonen space, but I also think there are better manga out there that have been written by women. Actually, do we even know that Demon Slayer's author is a woman? I think they actually have wished to remain not gendered. That's at least from what I've heard. But anyway, on other news, Friiren's mangaka, from what I understand, is a woman though, so not shonen though. Yes, FMI. Hiromu Arakawa, by the way, speaking of Full Metal Alchemist, Hiromu Arakawa has a new manga that is currently ongoing that is getting an anime adaptation soon. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, since
I have nothing.
We're nearing the end. Do we have any last thoughts on media and/or things we are looking forward to?
What am I looking forward to? Oh, new Toby Day book comes out on the 30th. I'm very excited to see what Misadventures October Day gets into.
Queen Demon is coming out in October.
Oh yes, Queen Demon. Yeah.
That is true. I'm excited for Queen Demon, but also I am excited for this. I finally received Happy of the End Volume 3 that I have been waiting for months since I got the first two, or since I read the first two, and now it was finally available. It has been pushed back. The release has been pushed back a couple of times. It was supposed to come out in May. And
now you
can't wait to. I'm actually hoping to have time to read this maybe before I go to bed, because I did the thing and I just sent the article that I'm supposed to read for school to my email so I can read it tomorrow while I should be productive.
You're supposed to read that tonight.
No, I have time until 5 p.m. tomorrow, so.
Cutting it a little close.
Hey, ADHD, cutting it close is how I live my life.
God, I'm going to have nightmares tonight for you. Oh my God, Rhea didn't have time to read their article before class.
Just skim the article and be ready to bullshit. That's what I did.
Yes, I shall.
Read the intro, conclusion, skim the lit review, the findings. You're good.
Yes.
This is not me talking as a librarian. This is talking as a former grad student.
Indeed. Die dropping pearls of wisdom for all the suffering fellow students out there. Take notes.
Look, here's the thing. Like, there's going to be times where you just have so much reading. The only thing you can do is skim. And I think one of the best skills you can learn in school is when to skim. Like, when is it something that you're going to need to pay attention to and get the details versus something that just knowing the bare bones is going to cut it.
But yeah, that's basically the thing I'm looking forward to this. And the other thing, oh yeah, Joe mentioned it in the chat. Alice in Borderland season, the new season is coming out. I'm still not finished with the previous season though, but it's good that I have more content soon. Also, I am salivating for the next season of Interview with the Vampire, which they have retitled The Vampire Lestat. So the third season is going to be called The Vampire Lestat.
Really?
It is looking to be pretty good.
I do not follow this, but for some reason, like one day I just kept getting stuff like promo stuff for the new season on Instagram, and I was like, wow, I think they're making it easy.
See, the thing is, I think the series is the best thing that has happened to the Anne Rice franchise in a long time.
I think so too. Yeah,
it is so good, so good.
I know that
looking
Sam
forward
Raid was
to-
like a huge fan of the books before the show, and people joke about like the spirit of Lestat possessing him.
Yeah. I
know
like all the toxic excess memes that people have made of Lestat and Louis.
It's on my list of things to watch. Like, I will get to it. I've been very bad about watching TV recently.
I think
Ramsey, I think Anne Rice has made several people queer.
I think
like,
there's an entire generation that might be able to.
I am part of that generation. I was reading Interview with the Vampire and Vampire Lestat at my confirmation camp that you have to do as a evangelic Lutheran. You need to go to a confirmation camp when you're 15. And I was reading illicit vampire books depicting homoromantic tension in my bunk bed at the Christian camp.
Never stop.
Yeah, exactly. Forever rebel.
The one thing that I know I'm really looking forward to is the next Knives Out movie has been announced, and I may actually go see it in theaters if it's.
Oh, there's a next Knives Out movie coming out.
What's it called?
Wake the Dead Man.
Wake Up Dead Man or something.
That one, yeah.
My head is like Knives Out 3. It's released in theaters in November, like Thanksgiving-ish, and then it's on Netflix in December. And I'm hoping that it comes to my town so that I can actually go see it, because I will actually go see a movie by myself if it's here. I'm very excited.
I might want to see it as well, because I have enjoyed the first one was my favorite, but I have enjoyed the Knives Out franchise.
Yeah, I think I might have to rewatch the first two movies and then before.
The figure skating season has begun. It is an Olympic season. Everyone wants to go to the Olympics. They are not doing very many sci-fi or fantasy related programs so far this year. I will let you know if that changes, but I think everyone's playing it very safe in their music choices because it's the Olympics.
This the one where you were saying there was like what was the theme? The 90s theme?
Oh, the rhythm dance. I hate the rhythm dance theme.
Is that what used to be the short program?
So Ice Dance used to have a compulsory dance and a short dance and a free dance. They combined. The compulsory was like they were literally all doing the same thing.
Okay.
And then they built that into the rhythm dance where they were all for a long time, they all had a set pattern step sequence that they all had to do the same thing in the rhythm dance. and there was a theme. So like they weren't all skating to the same music, but it would have to fit with the theme. Now the pattern step sequence, they don't even have to do like the whole step sequence. They just have to have several features from one of these step I don't understand. Ice dance is so confusing. But the theme for the rhythm dance this year is the 90s. Like social dances of the 90s or something. Like,
What is a
What
social
social
dance?
dances were there in the 90s?
no.
Musically an era that's known for its dancing that you can do with partners.
I know.
The slow dance that every tween did in the gym hall.
I know. Why would you choose this for like partnered ice dance? It's
Let me Google
and then
90s
I'm
90s
already
dance.
so tired of the music. It's so not. I don't know. Anyways, I have been dunking on the rhythm dances that I've seen so far in the group chat. It will continue to do so.
The dunking will continue until morale improves.
So apparently 1990s had the Carlton dance, Hammer Time, the Humpty dance, and Vogue.
I thought Vogue was like the
But Vogue,
80s.
I think, was late
yeah, Vogue
80s.
is the 80s.
I think Google is pissing me off with the AI generated search results again.
Yeah,
Look,
Voguing
the
was-
judges
Voguing
aren't-
was the 80s.
Aren't being strict here about like if I were one of these skaters, I would be so confused about how I was supposed to do like ballroom dance on ice to the 90s.
Something's wrong.
Everyone
Kelsey-
should dance to Hammer Time
Oh yeah.
and Ice Baby.
Kelsey, where do you watch ice skating before the Olympics? Asks.
It's
Angela.
very, very hard to if you're in the US. The Olympic qualifying competition that happened in Beijing this week was not geo-blocked on YouTube. So you can watch that just on the ISU YouTube channel. They do live stream most competitions on the ISU YouTube channel, but it's geo-blocked in the US because NBC has all the rights and they don't do anything with the rights. They stream major competitions on Peacock and then they disappear after like 48 hours because NBC doesn't want to pay the music rights. So the replays are gone. There's no archive of, you have to watch it live.
Is this where one uses a VPN to get around?
One
it?
does, except
Yes.
my VPN doesn't work on YouTube, so I need to get a better VPN.
Mm.
Yeah, and then some of the Challenger Series events, like one of them, I paid like $30 to access it on this sports streaming site because that was the only way to watch it. It's very hard to figure out where to watch figure skating. There is a website if you want to know, really figure out where to watch figure skating competitions throughout the season. So you want to watch fs.com is what I would recommend. They have guides for like where everything is broadcast or streaming in which countries. They are like the source to figure it out that I have found. Okay, I took us over time talking about.
Yeah, and we do have a hard stop.
Yes. Well, let us wrap it up then. I believe we are on Rhea's channel next month.
Yes,
Yep.
for the witch and bitch.
Yeah.
Because Halloween is coming.
Woo!
So whatever the date, we are celebrating Halloween. But we will let you know. We will let you know the date when we know the date.
We'll have to do the live stream like the Sunday before.
Yeah, because Halloween's on a Friday this year.
Yeah, Halloween is on a Friday this month, And I'm seeing Matteo Lane, the stand-up comedian.
So yeah, we will be back probably around Halloween for the next Stitch and Bitch on Rhea's channel, the Bookfinch. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining us and listening to us chit chat. We will be back later.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at ending.
See you next month, and adieu.
Adios.
Ciao.
Moikka.